Hey guys, Andy N. Stupendously good. Oh, that's a good word. Kate Jenkinson. Now, this should be the reading section, but we have forgotten something, Kate, haven't we?
Yeah, we did. I did. Yes, I did. Um, when you said what's coming up, I got all excited about a workshop I ran recently and talked about poetry in business. What I should have also added is that at the end of this year, I'm working on putting together a poetry and business conference, which will be online. And I've already got one speaker who said yes, they're gonna kind of open the event. So I'm looking for speakers, sponsors, and then after the poetry and business conference, anybody who wants to do kind of some workshops associated with the themes that we're going to be showing people what poetry can do. So things like well-being or leadership, or innovation and creativity. So it's going to have themes. So if anyone thinks that sounds interesting, definitely get in touch with me.
Quick question with this, obviously. I know, obviously,
Yeah,
it's still going to be up in the air a bit at the minute. Is it
yeah,
going to be an online event or in person?
yes. No, it's definitely online, Andy. Because obviously it's quite an investment in my time to organise, so I need to keep costs down. And I want to make sure it gets as wide a reach as possible.
Yeah.
And it'll get more people coming to it online, I think, than sort of as a face-to-face event for the first time anyway.
Yeah, yeah, no, of course. No, good luck with definitely some of that. So keep us informed. So, right,
Well,
okay. That's should be the end of part one now. So
yes, it
on
is.
to Kate. She's going to do not how many poems. Should we give people a hint how many poems you're going to do, Kate?
Well, I was saying to you that the
Hmm.
collection I've got coming out has got 5 sections, so I thought I would theme the poems against those sections so you can see what the collection's going to be like.
Yeah,
So
that
there'll be
was
5.
yeah, which I think is a great idea. So right, you're going to hear this saying a lot in the second half. I use it all the time. Less of me, more of you. So over to Kate. Take it away, Kate, with your first poem.
All right, thanks, Andy. So the first section in the book is under the theme, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. And one of the first poems that I used to take to the open mics before lockdown was something called Cookie Cutter Creativity. So this is that poem. Despite the fact that children are not made of clay, we're going to judge their talents in a cookie cutter way. We decide the rules of play, the A's, B's, C's, and D's, and we'll label everything they say. So they will fail to succeed unless they tick our box in a cookie cutter way. We've made it very clear the answer must be ours. Their originality and lateral thinking are a waste of their thinking powers. They must learn to curb creative thought and learn everything by rote. So no matter if they're bored, unless it ticks our box, their thinking is clearly flawed. And despite the fact that children are not made of clay, we're going to judge their talents in a cookie cutter way. So it really is annoying when they interpret someone's poem with a phrase or form that does not conform because it means I cannot tick the box that says they understand how to behave in a cookie cutter way. And it's even more frustrating when their talent shines all day, but they won't let me catch it and control it because they are not made of clay and it's so much easier to compare them in a cookie cutter way. So now they are all labelled wrong. And we're both disturbed by this. But rather than it be our problem, it's clearly they who've got it wrong. So please change your personalities, children, to reflect our worldview. Then we can tick our little box, which dispenses with the problem that is you. And yet, despite the fact that people are not made of clay, organisations persist their measuring in a cookie cutter way. And our collective creativity will be performance managed away. So the human work experience is only ever shades of beige. And despite the fact that not one of us is made of clay, we will only ever recognize you in a cookie cutter way. The expectations are our own and the distribution normal. The categories are now only 3, does not meet, meets, exceeds. And the conversation's formal. But I will not be fired in someone else's kiln. I am not glazed to meet the norms. I've never been made of clay. So I'm making creativity my enterprise. And it's time to throw that cookie cutter away.
I love the repetition use in that one, Kate, because I've not heard that one before. But I think when you're doing a poem's got a bit of repetition like that, there's one or two ways you do it. Yeah, you did it dead right there. Where you're
Thank
talking
you.
about either chucking the repetition out the window or
Yeah.
just doing using a completely different ending that disregards what the repetition did. Now you did it dead right with chucking the cookie cup away, definitely. Now,
Definitely.
with it been a poem that has had quite a bit of repetition in it,
Yeah.
was it quite a tricky poem to get the rhythm right on that piece?
Um, it kind of came to me in one piece because I was so angry with the way that the school was treating my daughter at the time that it just came out as though it was a teacher's voice, kind of, So no, it came quite easily in terms of rhythm. The ending is something that I've really struggled with. I've changed that ending about 4 times. So it might
Oh,
change. It might change when it gets published. You never know. It could look entirely different.
yeah, yeah, I get you on about it. It's one of the, if you're doing pieces like that, sometimes it can be notoriously tricky to get right, definitely with that
Yeah.
one. So, yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm one of these, definitely one of these sort of people where I can go through 15, 20 drafts on a poem sometimes, and I'll be
Yes.
ripping my hair out by the end of it. And I suspect you're probably the same, aren't you? So,
Well, I didn't used to be, I'll be honest, but I think the more I've really worked hard on my poetry, saying what I want it to say for an audience, than I do edit it now. I didn't
yeah,
used to.
I think you do because when you take it more serious, you're looking at it in a
Yeah.
different way all the time, and sometimes I think when you first start writing poetry, it's a case of throwing it all out, and
Yes.
but when you think about it more carefully, that's I think your approach changes on it. So no, I think it's a fantastic piece. So
Thank
anyway,
you.
less of me, more of you. On to you for section number two.
So this is a short, small poem, but it's under the section, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. And I'm just going to get you the title because I kind of been changing my titles around a bit as well with these poems. Um, so yeah, not that one. This one is it might be the last one in the section. It's called Aging. Who would be so foolish as to compare the youthful beauty of the dawning sun with the wisdom of her face at dusk when all her radiance abounds? Our sunset nights are the most profound. In your changing face of beauty, trust. There you go, a short one.
You tease, you cut me right out then. I thought you were going to go much longer then.
Seriously, when I say short poems, I mean short. I'm not the kind of person who says short and then does another 3 minute set.
Yeah, I know people that do, right? So, and that's why I thought for a minute then. But there's a lady on I know from Stockport, Linda Cosgrove, and she's not a Zoom poet at all. When she says short poems, they use about 3 lines.
Oh, well, I've got a couple of those, but yeah, they're not gonna. Yeah, they're usually out on social media, those ones.
Yeah, that's fair play to you. I know. Tell us about that piece and where did the inspiration behind this piece come from?
So I know I said I'm not on Twitter anymore, but I used to be, and I used to like to write stuff that would work into the count. The I can't remember how many
Hmm.
characters it was, and that was one of those poems. Um, Yeah, and I was just going through the menopause and feeling quite frustrated at work. And also it's, women needing to stay youthful and that kind of thing. And it's like I think we're beautiful all the way through our lives, wrinkles and everything. So yeah, it was just a piece to say I'm happy with what I look like.
Yeah, no, it's fair play. No, fair play to you. That I'm a firm believer in that sort of thing myself. So
Yeah.
you're beautiful no matter what age you are, if you look
Yeah.
after yourself. So no, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed completely. So right, anyway, less of me or you. See, I will drill the saying into your head when I've done it again. Back to you.
Right. Um, So, all going to plan, my next section in the collection, I see how that rhymed. I love a rhyme. Is I wish stayed in touch with my friends. And the interesting thing about this section is I didn't have much poetry for it. So, actually, I've had to write a few new pieces. So, this one is even called I Wish I'd Stayed in Touch with My Friends. I wonder why I have no friends. I wish I'd stayed in touch. I wish you were still here. I wonder at all the letters I never sent, SOS messages bobbing lost at sea. I think of all the time I wasted. I think of all the love I wasted. There are many different kinds of friend. My heart is driftwood in the sea. We cannot hug if we fear to touch. I miss you now you're absent. Your voice is the one thing I long to hear. Your absence casts a shadow here. I think of all the joy I wasted. Your flowers pressed have no scent. Solitude can sometimes be a friend. Your old letters smell of your touch. I may long for you, but will never see. As I often look wistfully out to sea, it's when I notice most you are not here. Our hands in each other's warmth in touch. Our friendship was never wasted. I didn't know what made you a special friend. I never thought beyond the present. I wish your goodbyes were never sent, broken apart by things I couldn't see. I have no one else to call my friend. Recalling conversations I no longer hear, I think of all the hope I wasted. I miss your closeness and your touch. Time twists away as I strain to touch your memories. Their melancholy scent reminds me of the life I've wasted, watching footprints washed away by sea, leaving me stranded always alone here, when all I wanted was you, my friend. Could I have stayed in touch? I was no friend to you. I see now how much effort you wasted, trying to be present for me, to be here, to be loved.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Like real quite touching, changing gears on that one. Honestly, Kate, I can well relate to that myself then, because
Yeah,
certainly, like I think the older you get, sometimes is you drift away from people, or some people anyway, that you've known
yeah,
for a long time. And I think lockdown did that to me, and I drifted away from probably half a dozen people that, in
yes,
some case, I'd known for 30 years.
yeah.
You do it's like it goes that way. Sometimes that's a really beautiful piece. So
Thank you. And it's a form poem, and for the life of me, I can't remember what form it is, but all the end lines, finish with the same words, and there
oh,
is a name for it.
I'm hopeless at them, so don't even bother asking me.
So, so we'll just have to let those who are listening. Here's your puzzle. What form is that poem? Is it a
Yeah.
sestina? Is it a? Yeah, I can't remember.
Well, it's not. It's certainly not a sonnet anyway. That's for sure.
It's not a sonnet, and
No,
it's
it's
not a haiku.
yeah. I didn't get the obvious rhymes in it, so it's quite. If it's rhymes, it's soft rhyme, don't you? So, but
Well, it's the end words all finish with the same end words, and then they move to different lines. So that's kind of like, yeah,
yeah, it'd be one of those sort of like Sestina or something, but that's
I think
non-rhyme.
it is.
It could be a Sestina. I'm not. Rather than seeing the piece of paper on page.
I'll have to go away and Google it. I know. Anyway,
Yeah, we'll
oops.
find. Well, no, let's move on now. Well, that was the first three. Well, next we've waffled.
Yes,
So yeah, on
yes.
to you for number four then. Right, okay.
Okay.
Less of me, plenty more of you.
So this next section is I wish I'd had the courage to express how I truly felt, which when you think for poetry is perfect, isn't it? Um, so I'm going to pick one by random, I think, because I haven't decided which this is going to be. Um, so you might have to edit this section as I go and ah. So I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. This one's called Love Equals, and it's after a poem by Roger Robinson, A Portable Paradise. And when you sat me, trembling, on your knee, unable to speak my terror through sobs of another maths lesson I couldn't bear, you took me home. All day I played shop, selling ice cream cones of cotton wool, gaining confidence to show up again at school. And in my pocket, a rough, blue, rubbed round eraser, so I could remember that I am not defined by my long division mistakes.
Excellent. Really, really good stuff. I do like Roger Robinson's stuff as well. So I really know him most from his work he does with the book on the King Minor Sound project. And that's because I like the book. It's not always going to be easy to listen to that stuff, but yeah, big fan of Roger Robinson, definitely. So
Oh.
how did you get into his work then?
I go to a lot of workshops, Andy, so I think it was a poem that was brought to one of those workshops that we were asked to write a response to. So that's how I ended up reading the poem and kind
Yeah.
of doing a response to it.
Yeah, it's a great piece, really is that. So again, so really quite a beautiful little piece that. So anyway, I'm not going to say the same now. Off to you for the
Over
big
to me.
fun. Oh,
The,
for the big finale, right?
so this is a poem that I wrote actually in another workshop, but I've not done many poetry films, but I did this as one, and it was called Hope actually, but I've renamed it Respair, which is an old English word that means to regain hope. And I shared it during lockdown, and it got quite a few views. Anyway, it's Hope. There is a content warning for this one. The content warning is for suicidal ideation and depression. But I promise you, it gets better towards the end. Um, I'd like to grasp the word hope, but the sharp possibilities are razor blades incising my past from my future, and hope, the bridge in between. Shaking and rattling, my nerves slowly shattering, and hope, although etched in my brain, finds no fertile place in my heart. With my hand extends, with my veins stretched blue, exposed on my wrist, I shrug. Is it easier to end this, or exist with the pain? Even hope with its hurting is worth me exerting myself beyond the all too familiar fear. I sense hope is near. I'd like to grasp the familiarity of hope, for when hope seemed to have abandoned me, poetry stood by, ever there to find the words I couldn't hear. Poetry reminded me that hope surges when pessimism pours cold water on the fire of adventure. Hope sizzles and spits her furious desire to be relit. Relit. Hope is the sunset on an imperfect day. The sleeping rays resting and re-energizing, darkness consuming all our fears. So in the morning, hope dawns and reappears. She accompanies me in every new and challenging experience. Her belief and sheer resilience to cope with life's ups and downs. I feel her gentle presence. Hope holds my hand and whispers affirmations. Her reassurance understands, recharging my determination to survive, inspiring my curiosity. Hope keeps me alive.
Bravo with that. Yeah, I agree with you. You've tackled a very difficult subject with that piece there. I think you've done it in a way that definitely it's got a content warning. It has to be, but you've done it where you give hope at the end of it, and hope is an important thing. Without
It is.
hope, what is it?
Exactly. And
That's fun.
poetry inspires hope for me. It has done throughout my life. Yeah, I
Same
love
for me
it.
as well. It's pulled me through some difficult times, and
Yeah.
I can now do it. Like I say, I've used to pull people with difficult times as well. So it's been a
Yes.
pleasure today, Kate. Definitely with that.
Thank you,
So
Andy.
yeah, but trouble if you do spoken label for a while. I often have lists of people I want to get on, and sometimes it just never happens for years or whatever reason.
Yeah.
I should have had you on spoken label about a year ago. People are wondering, and it destroyed my bloody life anyway. So anyway, we will talk further off mic because
I will
I'm
love
going to
to do that.
speak to you about your book because I've got a few questions for you off mic. So anyway,
Thank
guys,
you.
girls, October. Get Kate's book currently titled to be revealed. We'll see you all soon. Okay, take care, guys and girls. As Don Callis over at AW says, stay safe and stay over.